Nuts, nuts, nuts. Who doesn't love nuts? I definitely do. They've become a staple in my hormone journey, and they are an integral and simple step in making my period comfortable every month. So let's talk about how. First of all, thank you all for being here. My name is Jenn J. I am a women's hormone health coach and family nutritionist. My practice is built on empowering women who are living with uncomfortable and debilitating hormonal symptoms. Things like painful periods, mood swings, PMS, weight issues, and low energy. I help these women reclaim their lives and put their period problems to rest, all while helping the entire family eat healthier. Now, have you ever had a moment where you just can't figure out what to eat? And I will tell you, this happens to me often. You're staring into your fridge or your pantry, you're going back and forth between the two, nothing looks appealing, right? And you're thinking, what can I eat? I want some food. Here's what comes into my head. Nut butters, okay? I'm not gonna lie, I'm a huge fan of nut and seed butters. So from almond butter to peanut butter, tahini, hazelnut butter, pumpkin seed butter, even sunflower seed butter, I love them all. They all have amazing tastes, textures, and I use them differently in my meals and recipes. So I actually find there's something really satisfying about dipping a piece of fruit into nut butters, and of course just having like a creamy spread on my toast, just packed full of nutrients, right? So nut butters are a really great way to add protein and healthy fats to your diet. Both are actually crucial for well-balanced and healthy hormones. So it's obviously a total bonus that they come in many different flavors, and that you can get it in smooth and crunchy, and that you can make your own, all of that, right? Now, when it comes to our menstrual cycles, there's so much going on at different times that it's really important to ensure that nutritionally we're supporting our body the best way that we can, okay? So understanding how food affects your body and your hormones is really helpful in learning how to best support your hormonal journey through womanhood. And that goes for women at all stages of their hormone journey, which is why I really love doing these types of educational based videos, because I really want you to see and understand the impact that food has and lifestyle actually has on our hormonal balancing. Okay. Now, here are some basics that you should know as it relates to our hormones. So, number one, many of our sex hormones are produced from scratch in our ovaries and our adrenal glands. All right. So they rely on cholesterols and fat to build a healthy flow of these hormones. Now, of course, when we talk about cholesterol, we talk about the good kind, not the kind that causes heart disease. Then number two is that other hormones that are necessary for a healthy period are made in the other glands of our endocrine system, and they're built on protein peptides, making protein a critical ingredient in healthy hormone production. So when we think about healthy hormones, we need to be thinking about how we need a consistent, healthy, balanced intake of clean proteins and healthy fats. We really don't want to be, taking these out of our diet. Of course, we also need a well-balanced source of complex carbohydrates and fiber. But as it relates specifically to our nut and seed butters today, we really want to understand how proteins and fats are so important for these hormones, right? So when it comes to eating a hormone healthy, friendly diet, these are nutrients that we need to keep in mind. And I love that nut butters are a really great and easy way to add both of these to our day to day. So I want to share with you a couple of ways that nut butters can actually improve our hormonal balancing, or can, mitigate some of the symptoms we might experience. Okay, so number one, nut butters are really high in both fiber and protein, right? So of course they're not going to have as much protein as, say, a piece of fish, or a piece of chicken, or even most beans or lentils, but they are a really great, easy way to add more protein. So protein stacking, all right? And so these are going to do two things. Number one, that protein is going to help us feel full and satisfied when our food cravings kick in our PMS week, right? So when we're looking at our luteal phase, that week before our period starts, when we start to have food cravings, making sure that you're consuming enough food, as well as plenty of protein and fat, is going to help balance this. Now, I actually did a video on this specific topic recently, so I will link it here in the video so you can go over and watch it if it interests you, so you can understand how to balance your energy levels and avoid overeating in that week of your period, in the week before your period, to kind of help mitigate some of that PMS, food munchies that we get, right? Number two, the fiber in nut butters and fiber in general is important for phase 3 detoxification processes in our body. This is our bowels, okay? So keeping our elimination processes moving efficiently daily will help us avoid reabsorbing excess toxins and hormone metabolites that are being prepared for expulsion. So the last thing we want to do is reabsorb hormone metabolites that we don't need. These are, they're waste products. We want to expel them. We don't want them in our body, and they are prepared and ready for expulsion. However, if we're not consuming enough fiber, then our bowels aren't moving regularly and we're not expelling that excess hormone, right? Now, what happens is if we reabsorb these these toxins, or particularly estrogen metabolites, then we actually run the risk of having estrogen dominance or excess estrogen in our endocrine system. And this will actually throw off our ideal and healthy ratios of progesterone to estrogen and leads to an increased risk of estrogen dominance. Now, oftentimes for a lot of women, what we see who have excess estrogen or estrogen dominance is that they have much heavier periods, much more painful periods. They tend to have a lot of anxiety, they have a lot of breast pain, their PMS seems a little bit out of control or feels out of control, they've got more weight being carried in their belly regions. And so we really want to be able, in order to have a healthier period and a healthier cycle in general, is ensure that we are eliminating all those estrogen metabolites, and fiber is a key component of that. Now, I will say that if you are dealing with hormonal imbalances, or you think you might be struggling with hormonal symptoms, I encourage you to go over to my website, www.jens2ns1s healthyliving.ca, and I'll just put the link to that in the description of this video, and take my hormone health quiz, my period quiz. It's right there on my homepage. There's a big banner. It says click here to take your quiz. And it'll walk you through, the severity of some of the symptoms you're dealing with. And at the end of it, we'll actually give you a little bit of insight into what, the severity of what you're dealing with, and a couple of steps to help you implement some change and strategies to experiencing better balance, right? To kind of removing some of that. Number 3, proteins that are found in nut butters are a simple and easy way to add more protein to your daily diet. This will encourage healthy hormone production within our endocrine system, especially if you are following a plant-based diet, a vegetarian diet, or you just have difficulty consuming enough protein with ease, right? So if certain proteins upset your stomach, or you forget to include them in your meals, or maybe you find them difficult to prepare, expensive to purchase, if you're having difficulty consuming enough protein, nut butters and seed butters are a great way to protein stack, because you can add, 1 to 2 tablespoons of them to a meal, maybe like a smoothie or an oatmeal bowl, or on your toast, right? Or just as a snack with veggie sticks or a sliced up apple. Then you're stacking more protein into your day, and it all adds up. It all matters, right? So next is that, the healthy fats found in pure nut butters are really great for facilitating efficient synthesis of our sex hormones with our adrenal glands and ovaries. So with healthy levels of estrogen and progesterone, we tend to see less symptoms of hormonal imbalances related to our periods and overall health, all right? So our adrenal glands are responsible for helping us manage and regulate our cortisol and our stress hormone. So if we don't have enough healthy fats in our diet, then we can actually, burn out our adrenals. And I mean, there's lots of ways to do that, but essentially we're not providing the fuel source for our adrenals in order to properly regulate these hormones. And then we tend to see, this higher level of fat retention, higher levels of anxiety, more depression, more mood swings. And so when we can incorporate more healthy fats from nut and seed butters and just healthy fats in general, we can help facilitate efficient synthesis of these hormones. Now, when I say pure nut butters, we're going to talk a little bit about that in a little bit, because I want you to understand what that actually means, okay? But then lastly, we're going to cover here that, nut butters, outside of the fats and fibers and proteins that they also provide essential nutrients, vitamins, and minerals that we need in order to have a healthy period. So nutrients like iron, zinc, calcium, magnesium, chromium, vitamin B, vitamin E, and even potassium. Okay, these are all crucial nutrients that are used by our ovaries, our thyroid, our adrenal glands in order to properly modulate our sex hormones and our energy levels in general. Okay. So, things like iron, right? For example, so having a healthy iron level is helpful in combating heavy periods, while, appropriate intake of calcium, magnesium, and potassium can be helpful in reducing painful period cramps. Now, I don't tell you this because I want you to write it down and then go and grab yourself all these supplements, because that's not what we want either. What we want to do is find ways, easy, simple ways in our diet to have a food first approach. And I really believe that having that food first approach is important in us helping and making it simple for us, healthy for us, and knowing where those nutrients come from, right? Because you're through little education videos like this that I host, you're understanding the types of nutrients, A, that your body needs, and B, where you're going to find them. And then it makes it easier for you to make those commitments. And nut butter is really such a simple one to add to your day to day. Now, keep in mind when I'm saying nut butter, like I'm also mean seed butters. Okay. So if you have an allergy to nut butter, or you have children in your family have difficulty with nuts, or you're looking for school-friendly options that the whole family can eat as well, you can also do seed butters. So pumpkin seed butter, sunflower seed butter, tahini is another really great one, right? So these are great options that you can be implementing that still provide all these same benefits as a nut butter, right? Now, earlier I mentioned that your nut butter should be pure, right? And I said that we would talk about this. So what does that mean? It means that the only ingredients in your nut butters should be the nuts themselves. That's it. So no added oils, no added salts or sugars. They're not needed. And actually, what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to link a video tutorial here for you to see how I make my own healthy and pure nut butter. It's really very simple, very easy. And of course, you can always buy your own, that you can find. Most grocery stores now sell them. And of course, you could always go to a bulk food store. If you're here in Canada, there's the bulk bin. They have pure nut butters. And you could always check your health food stores as well, right? So there's lots of areas where you can find the pure nut butters because you really don't need those added oil, salts, and sugars. They're really going to pull away from all those healthy benefits that nut butter is supposed to provide to you, and you don't need all of that. So keep all that out. So I will say I'm going to wrap this up. I'll go over this really quickly for you one more time. They're nut and seed butters are great with fiber and protein, which are going to help you feel full and satiated to overcome those PMS food munchies, right? 2, fiber helps with our detoxification processes in our body, our elimination processes. So we're going to help eliminate excess toxins and hormone metabolites that can contribute to hormonal imbalances. 3, the proteins help build healthy hormone production in our endocrine system. So we need those. 4, the healthy fats are great for efficient synthesis of our sex hormones from our adrenal glands and our ovaries. And then 5, they provide essential nutrients that we need, not just for overall health, but also like for our menstrual cycle and our overall health, right? Like we can't have one without the other. So, all those, essential nutrients that we can get from food and help mitigate some of those symptoms we deal with. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I encourage you to like it, subscribe if you're watching here on YouTube. If you're on my social media channels, I encourage you to follow me. Share this video with somebody that you know. I'm sure somebody else could find some value in here as well. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And I encourage you to keep living healthy one bite at a time. Goodbye, everybody.